Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jimmy Tingle Show. It's nice to be with you all again this afternoon. It's always good to be here because we always have wonderful guests. We have an awesome audience and we have dynamite guests. And today my guest is Lygia Soares, and she is the founder and executive director of the Merrimac Heights Academy, ladies and gentlemen. And just so you know, this is National Autism Month, and we're going to be doing a big benefit to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Merrimac Heights Academy. And I wanted to get Lygia here to tell us all about it, how people can get tickets, how they can attend, and how they can donate. Even if they can't come, they can help support this wonderful school that she founded, and she is now the executive director of this wonderful little school here in Massachusetts. But Lygia, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. Merrimac Heights Academy is a small, approved private school located in Merrimac, Mass. It is approved by the Department of Education in Massachusetts. And we serve students from the ages of 11 to 22 who have varying challenges. Mm-hmm. The reason I started the school is because I have a daughter with special needs, and she was not having a lot of success in the public school, and she was outplaced to a different private school, which was really meeting her needs pretty well. But after a few years, it became pretty evident that that was not going to work moving forward. And I started looking for alternative placements. What I found was most of the places I looked at were either had an academic bent or a vocational and life skills bent. And I felt like at the age of 14, I didn't feel good about stopping one for the other. You know, I felt like I wanted something where she could continue to learn, but also get what she needed in terms of the vocational and the life skills. And I couldn't find anything that satisfied me and convinced me that she would reach the level of success that she could. So without giving it much thought, I jumped in with both feet and started the school. Some say I'm brave, some say I'm crazy. I say I'm a little bit of both.
I think you're very brave, you're very compassionate, and just very courageous to do what you did. And you did it out of the love for your daughter. Is it fair to say that you serve students on the autism spectrum?
I do. Mm-hmm. So we serve most of our students. When people ask me what our profile is, my best answer and my initial answer is every one of my students is a population of one. Mm-hmm. There's no one else like them. But that being said, we have students that have learning challenges, social challenges, communication challenges, intellectual challenges. We have a lot of kids on the autism spectrum. But the underlying common denominator for all our students that we serve is a language learning disability or language learning challenges. So yes, we have probably about 70% of our students are on the autism spectrum. And so April is a big month for us because it is National Autism Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this is going to be a great event. Our event is going to be May 17th. And all the information will be in the show notes for everybody. But people can learn more about the event and the MerrimackHeightsAcademy.org. MerrimackHeightsAcademy.org. Just like it sounds, you can learn about the event. You can get tickets to the show, the event, the fundraiser, and you can also just donate. Even if you can't come, you can certainly donate and be a part of the success of this school, because what you've done, Lygia, is being a force of nature of one. You started this school, and you had never run a school before, right?
No. I was a speech pathologist and professor at the University of New Hampshire and at Gordon College. So I think this was what I was born to do. Mm-hmm. And my daughter was put into my life probably to get me to do what I was meant to do.
And tell me, you started it in, was it 2014 or 2013?
We opened our doors in 2014. We kind of took over the space a little earlier than that, in 2013.
Tell me about when you first came across this particular campus, because you had been looking for places, right? And all of a sudden you're driving down the driveway to this campus, and what happened?
So initially, we were looking at a place in Exeter, New Hampshire, and it could have worked, but we were struggling with, the town and what do we call it? I had some people who were helping me with this project, and someone told me that this campus was available, was up for sale, and I drove up the driveway, and within 30 seconds, I said, this is Merrimac Heights Academy. I didn't even have to give it any thought and it fit so beautifully. It's in Merrimac, it's on a hill, and it's a school, and it just was, it was kind of like a meant to be.
Wow.
We were meant to be on this campus.
Right. And your first student, and from the time you went up that driveway till you had your first student, which was your daughter, correct?
Yes.
And what was that time frame like? Just a year or so?
It was a little less than a year. Yes, we had to get local district approval, so there was a lot of red tape to be to go through just to get to open our doors.
Right.
This used to be the Easter Seals program, and it was sitting empty for a couple of years, so it was in a bit of disarray. So even getting the building up to code to open a school took a lot of work. But we opened in the summer of 2014 once we got the local district approval to open. And we started with one student, and that was a real challenge to manage a whole, campus with one tuition.
Right.
But gradually over the years, we grew from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7. And although we are approved for 13 students, this year we had to get special permission from DESE, the Department of Education, to go up to 20 because of the high need. And so right now we have 20 students.
Right. The parents of these students, how do they respond to your school, or what type of feedback are you getting from them?
I think we're changing lives not only of the students, but of families, because families are finally able to relax and not have to be worried about what their child is going to be doing every day. I know I, as a parent, went through those same feelings where I felt like I had to be on top of her schooling every single day. And as soon as I found the right place for her, I could sit back and relax and know that she was taken care of. And my parents feel the same way too. I get amazing emails from them, thanking me for starting the school, when they do their triennial evaluations. Their evaluators say that there's such a marked difference, and the only difference for them is being at MHA. Merrimac Heights Academy. So
wow,
it's very rewarding.
I imagine it is. Tell us about the challenges that the parents of autistic children have, starting right when you're coming home from the hospital, or when do you first detect autism in a child?
It varies. I think some parents know pretty early on that there's something not quite right, and some kids are not diagnosed until they're in their teens. So I think it varies, but the biggest challenges are educational challenges, are getting a student to access the curriculum because they don't learn in the same way as neurotypical students. And I feel like, they might need more individualized attention. They might need more accommodations and differentiation of the curriculum. And sometimes they might have, quirks that might be seen as behaviors, or because they're not getting their needs met in school, they might demonstrate some behaviors and be considered, behavioral challenges. Oftentimes when we get students who are not doing well in the public schools, they come in with certain atypical behaviors. But when we get them and when we have them in the right environment, in the right classes, the right teachers, those behaviors are not obvious anymore because they're getting their needs met.
And your needs as a school, you get some funding from the state, is that correct?
We get our funding through tuitions from the public districts.
From the public school districts,
Yeah.
okay. And also you survive on donations.
Yes.
And so that's why we're doing the fundraiser on May 17th.
Yes. So the tuitions cover our basic operating costs, but all our extra, we do a lot of extra stuff for our students. We have a garden where we try to make them well-rounded. So they do a lot of extracurricular stuff. We have a space where we're going to open a culinary arts program. So we have a culinary kitchen, a commercial kitchen that we want to install, where we'll get our kids to have some additional job skills so they can have a path in life if that's the path they want to take. Tied to that, we will have a cafe that people will come in for breakfast and lunch. And our students will have a chance to practice the skills they're learning in speech and OT and in the general classroom to practice them in real life settings with strangers, but in a supported way. So our goal is always to make them ready for the real world.
Ready for the real world. How is your daughter doing? How was her experience over the last 10 years at the school?
She did really well. For 1 year, she was the only student, which was a little challenging not to have any peers. But it was really interesting that when I took her back to her previous school to visit, they were amazed at how much she had grown socially. And, we always think you have to be around a lot of people to develop those social skills. But I think with the individualized attention that she was getting from the teachers, she really grew a lot. And over the years, as we started getting more kids, that just blossomed. So for many of my students, after they come to Merrimac Heights, this is the first time they've actually had authentic friendships. A lot of my girls have had sleepovers, which they've never had before. They hang out in the mall like typical kids want to do. But they feel a sense of belonging, and that's what gives them that comfort to open themselves up to friendships. Many have come with previous instances of bullying and being ostracized, so that might be even more rewarding for me to see than their academic successes, is how they flourish socially.
And are they coming from a particular, I assume they're coming from the radius of Merrimac, Massachusetts?
Oh, I've got students coming from as far away as Franklin, Mass.
Okay.
So the radius is spreading wider. I've got kids from Arlington, Massachusetts, from Groton, Dunstable, as close as Amesbury, as close as Triton. So we've got kids from quite a wide geographic radius.
And tell me about the need. What is the need out there in society? Is it growing? Is it more acceptable? Is it easier now to get care than it was, say, 20 years ago?
There's more care and more awareness for sure, but the need is growing, and I can testify to that just by the amount of referrals I get. I'm taking calls, probably 1 or 2 a day, for parents looking for placement for their children. So I would have to say that even though we are pretty fully enrolled right now, we are still getting a ton of referrals. And so I believe the need is there.
And what is the goal? For example, you're serving children from, what are the age groups again?
11 to 22.
And the goal is independent living, that they could live on their own and thrive on their own.
Yes, that is the ultimate goal, is to give them the skills to be as independent as they possibly can be. and achieve their greatest level of success. And success looks different for every student. You know, some of our students may be able to go to community colleges, others may not, you know. So, but we want them to reach their maximum potential. So we set the bar high and expect a lot from them. And interestingly enough, oftentimes they strive to reach the bar.
You were telling me that many students, the majority of them, received a high school diploma. Is that correct?
As of now, yes. So far we've had 9 students in our 10 years. We've had 9 students graduate or age out, and 7 out of those 9 have attained high school diplomas, which is pretty amazing. I would not have expected that when I started the school. I thought we would be more, conferring certificates of completion. But I've been very pleasantly surprised to see that many of our students have passed MCAS and met their degree requirements, some at 18 and some at 22, but they've gotten it. So only two of my students have not achieved a high school diploma.
Right. And what do you attribute to that? Is that the class? Is that the staff, the dedication of the staff, or the individual instruction, or the care that they're getting? Because that's atypical, isn't it?
It's surprising, and I think our students are so capable, and I think every student that comes to us, and I would say every student has the potential to learn if they're taught the right way. So our class sizes are 3 to 4 students in a class, and with that we have a special ed teacher and an assistant. So we're able to individualize to a great extent. We place students by ability rather than by age or grade. So they're learning in the same cohort at a similar level. And so they don't feel less than or better than anyone else. So their self-esteem grows. They feel like they can learn. And we don't give a lot of importance to testing, but we do everything one-on-one, the testing. So it's a very stress-free environment. And I feel like what we strive to do at Merrimac Heights is that tripod of success for us is speech, OT, and counseling. I feel like if a kid can communicate well their needs, if they can regulate themselves, and if they have a strong social emotional strength, the learning comes. They're better primed to learn. I do have a very good staff.
Right. It sounds like it. Now, you sound like a very good executive director. Do you have experience in, who came up with the curriculum? Who came up with the philosophy of how best to approach educating these students?
So I've been a speech pathologist most of my adult life, and I'm also a professor at, I used to be at University of New Hampshire. Currently I'm at Gordon College. And I've done a lot of program development throughout my career, but I really did not have any experience running a school. I think my experience was having a daughter, but I do, like I mentioned earlier, I do believe that this was my path, and I feel like there was a lot of divine intervention that got me here. The curriculum we follow the Massachusetts Frameworks curriculum, and my teachers, initially my teachers did a lot of the curriculum planning, and currently we have education directors and who also help with the curriculum development. But the philosophy was basically, just what these kids need and what best practice in education is.
Right, to parental love and action.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the parents are thrilled, and ideally with the funds that you're continuing to develop from the state and also from donors and from our fundraiser on May 17th, the idea is one of the goals is to get the garden up and running, right? And then get this commercial kitchen up and running, which is very exciting. So you can be serving the general public. I will be up there because I love
hope
to
so.
eat, and I know you. I have confidence that your food will be delicious. But that, and in the process of doing that, the purpose of doing that is to develop the life skills for the students. So they're then somewhat employable. They're learning on the job, things like that, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's excellent. And you were talking earlier about the possibility of a dormitory. You said you had another building on the property, and you're interested in turning that into dorms?
Yes, part of our strategic plan is to open what we're going to call the Transition Academy at Merrimac Heights, and that will be a dorm where the students, maybe 17 to 22, 18 to 22, will stay here Monday through Friday. So it'll be weekly boarding, and they will be responsible for their care. So it'll be less restrictive than living at home because they won't have parents to jump in and do things for them. They will be learning how to take care of themselves with the ultimate goal of having the option of living independently. You know, typically kids go to college or at 18 or they move out, you know, live independently. And I feel like my students need to at least have that option.
So that's a big switch, right? To offer boarding is again developing life skills post education. Great.
Yes.
Great. Well, I tell you, what else can you tell us about Merrimac Heights Academy that we haven't touched on, and how can people find out more about the organization? How can they donate? How can they get tickets to the event on May 17th? I will be the MC, the comedic entertainment, and I will be running the auction as well. I'm excited for this role. I love doing three things in one show. It's always fun. This is one of the things we've been doing with Humor for Humanity, having this podcast, spreading the word about what we're doing, what the organization is about, how people can get involved. If you have friends or relatives who have autistic children or children with special needs, you might want to come to this event or just to check it out, go to the website, merrimacheightsacademy.org, and learn more about this organization. I know you said, Lygia, that there's a lot of need out there, and I'm sure you would welcome more students and more involved parents, of course.
Yeah, we're always wanting to spread the word and open our doors to, you know, help more and more students. So,
what else can you tell us about the event on the 17th?
So to me, the event is a bigger deal than if this was our 50th anniversary. Because in 10 years, so much could have gone wrong. We could just as easily not have been here today as we are, you know? I mean, it was a hard road. It was a challenging road, but probably the most rewarding thing I have ever done.
Wow.
You know, trying to manage a 17-acre campus with one tuition was not an easy feat. I also feel that, you know, being a new organization and then being hit with COVID and coming through COVID so strong is something that I am very, very grateful, humbled by, and very proud of at the same time. We closed in March like the rest of the world did, but we were back in person in July and have stayed in person right through. And most importantly of all, we were 100% COVID free for that whole year. And that was quite an amazing feat because so many things could have gone wrong. So I think 10 years to me, yes, it's a fundraiser, that's important, but it's a celebration. And I would love to have the whole world celebrate with us. Well, because it's a big deal.
Well, we will be, and I'm coming up to the campus very shortly to check it out. 11 beautiful acres in Merrimac, Massachusetts, and I can't wait to get there. I look forward to meeting you in person, and I absolutely look forward to emceeing, performing, and running the auction on May 17th at Merrimac Heights Academy ladies and gentlemen. Check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you,
us
Jimmy.
today, Lygia. You're a wonderful guest. What a great power of example you are of parenting and just education and the commitment to do something not only for your own daughter, but for all these other families who have been so grateful for the work that you've done. And we just want it to continue another 10 years, another 20 years, another 50 years, another 100 years.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy.